Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. It is Monday. It's 10 o'clock. Weekend's flying by. It's pretty crazy. Today, I want to talk to you guys about, hey, we're ending our podcast, or at least part of our podcast. I'm going to go into that. So I've been doing a podcast now, Stay Paid Podcast, for almost 7 years, maybe 550 episodes at this point. And we've been on this ride and this journey with the podcast. I'm going to talk about that, why I'm ending some of it, and what my thought process is now for this shifting market and where I'm leading my business, which hopefully you can take some of this from a content marketing perspective, a marketing in general perspective. And if you have a podcast, something for you to think about. But before we do that, I'm going to cue this intro. Now, normally I go live on Monday Mindsets within Insurance Syndicate, but StreamYard is not allowing you to go live to groups anymore. And so I'm going live on my profile, and then I'll post it in the Insurance Syndicate page. But we're ending our podcast. I'm going to tell you why here after this intro. I'll see you on the other side.
There are no bad businesses. There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
What is up? It is Monday. Lily, what's up? Good to see you. Man, we haven't had a Monday Mindset episode in like 2 weeks because StreamYard stopped allowing us to share to groups. And quite frankly, I haven't spent the time to figure out if it's actually an option or not. But I just went live on my profile. I tried to share it to Insurance Syndicate. So I hope that works. I'll try to check here on the Facebook page to see if it actually works and post in there. But what I am doing today is I'm talking to you guys about ending my podcast. So like I said in the intro, been doing a podcast for 6+ years now, 550, maybe 70 episodes at this point. And we are ending it. Well, at least some of it. So a little bit of clickbait there. So we're not ending the podcast totally altogether. A while back, we had decided to split the show where we had Stay Paid, a marketing podcast. And then we took that and we split it and said, we're going to have Stay Paid real estate marketing and we're going to have Stay Paid insurance marketing, because we kept hearing there's riches in the niches, which is true. And we said, we need to niche down so we can get more tangible, more tactical for the audiences that we're speaking to. And then on top of that, not only were we doing those shows, so 2 different shows, we were also doing something called Silver Dollars. And Silver Dollars are an episode where Josh and I get on by ourselves and break down for people like 15 to 20 minutes of marketing tips of the week. So we had a Monday episode, we had a Tuesday episode, we had Silver Dollars going out on Thursdays. And we realized that, wait a second, we have a little bit of a problem. And the problem was Josh and I were spending so much time on content that we were losing productivity and growth in our own business from the amount of time, or opportunity cost, I should say, not necessarily growth, but opportunity cost in our own business, meaning we were spending bare minimum 4 hours a week, each of us. And then that was just for the prep and all that stuff. It didn't count a bunch of the other stuff we were doing. We're spending 4 hours a week on content. And the question I have for you today is, how much content should you be producing in your business. Thanks, Lily, for that update. So it is showing in the Insurance Syndicate. Awesome. So how much content should you produce in your business? Like, that is a struggle that I have. You guys know I run a company, Reminder Media. We work in marketing and we serve a bunch of different industries. And so we've been cranking out content forever. And it's like, how much content should you spend? How much content should you do? And how much time should you spend on that content? And with this market shift that's happened, me transparently to you guys, man, it is so much harder in business right now. So we've been on a great run for the last 10 years, right? And it's a lot harder now. The market has shifted. It's harder to close deals. It's harder to get people to spend money. You can't make excuses. You got to just drive results. But there's a reality that, man, what would have taken us, 1x effort to get a deal, maybe now takes us 3 times the effort to get that one deal. And Josh and I started to realize that, wow, Josh's giftings and his expertise is needed drastically in our products to shift, evolve, iterate, create new products for the current market today. And then my expertise in sales and driving marketing and driving leads and sales needs to be there versus all this time that we're spending on the podcast. And so what I did is I went back to a founding principle that should happen in any business. And here it is. If you run a business, this is something I learned from Gary Keller. He's the founder of Keller Williams. It's like one of the largest real estate companies in the world. I think they have 140,000 agents. And he has this principle. You lead with revenue. Lead with revenue. So if you're growing a business, you lead with revenue. So what does that mean? Sales isn't everything. It's the only thing. You must drive revenue. And if what you're doing is not driving revenue, you must assess and ask yourself, why are you doing it? And you should be able to connect everything that you do to some form of revenue generation. Because if you don't do that, what happens is you get into an organizational structure, you get into corporatism, where you literally are structuring out and corporatizing your company for no result, for no ability to actually make you any more money. And so Josh and I started looking at it and going, well, why did we start this podcast to begin with? So first and foremost, we started it because we wanted to create content to get in front of our clients, to try to convince them to take action on the products and services and strategies that we teach. And we felt that if we could come about it from a different angle, not just a customer service or sales rep on the phone, an account manager, but from content and getting thought leaders in the industry on a show, we could maybe inspire our client base to take action through thought leadership. So that was one of the reasons. Second reason, just as important, was podcasting, social media, obviously has been the rage for literally 15 years now, it seems like. And so we knew we had to get on that train ourselves and start producing content. So we knew we needed consistent content for our social. Podcasting is long form content that you can then repurpose and utilize in short form. So it was a way for us to generate content. Third is it was a way for us to build relationships. And this one we didn't value as high because we didn't even understand what a podcast could do. But I'm telling you, the best part about a podcast, if you don't have one, the main reason to have a podcast is the people you meet when you interview them. The podcasting relationships that you get will transform your business. I had mentioned on Stay Paid when we were talking about the same concept. We went out, I spoke at Medicare Con last week or 2 weeks ago in Vegas. And so I was speaking from the main stage of Medicare Con. That came from a relationship developed through the podcast. So all this, actually my speaking at 8%, that relationship developed through the podcast with Cody Askins coming on Stay Paid, us getting to know him, us sponsoring his events, us doing more partnerships with them. And I end up speaking on a stage. So there's so many of these relationships that have developed in the podcast. So those 3 things, we're like, wow, we want content consistently. We want thought leadership for our clientele to drive action. And we want to build relationships. And then I thought to myself, well, why are you doing 4 shows? Why are you doing 3 shows? If you just have 1 show coming out on Mondays, not only will you be able to still interview people and build relationships with them, not only will you still have long form content that you can repurpose and reutilize the short form, not only will you give thought leadership to your clients, you'll do it all with 1 show instead of 3. So why are you doing 3 shows, Luke? What are you trying to do? What's your goal? Because I got misaligned in my goal. And this is a key point for all of you to encourage you. Like, what's your goal in business? And I had to ask myself, Luke, is your goal to be the #1 podcaster in the world? That's not my goal. That's not my goal. So why are you creating all these different podcasts? Why are you spending all this time, energy, and money on these podcasts If your goal is not that, if your goal is to grow Reminder Media, which is what you're trying to do, and help your clientele live a life of freedom by helping them close more deals, if that's your goal, then you need to rethink what you're doing with this content. And that's a hard thing to do, because when you have so much time invested in it and you have so much energy, you want it to work. And not only that, your pride seeps in and you're like, well, I just told people like 6 months ago, I'm niching down. I'm going to bring you the best insurance podcast. I'm going to bring you the best real estate podcast. And this is where it gets hard. This is where the rubber meets the road, when you've vocalized the truth out into the universe, and then you walk in it and you realize it's not true. It's not really what you should be doing. And you got to backpedal, and you've got to admit and go, hey, this actually is wrong. I actually did it wrong. This is not my main goal. My main goal is to use my podcast to put out great thought leadership that my clients can gain knowledge from, build relationships, and spread the brand. That's my main goal with the podcast. And I can do that with 1 episode a week. And then I get this added benefit. You can't give from an empty cup. Say that again. You cannot give from an empty cup. And when I find myself doing 3 to 4 shows a week, my cup gets so empty. It's like I'm reading books, I'm listening to people, but my cup gets empty, because on the first show, I pour it out. And then the second show, I pour it out. By the 4th show, you're like, what else do I have to say? And then you find yourself venturing into lands where you're talking about stuff that you're not really an expert in. Have you ever found yourself there? It's like you find yourself regurgitating things or talking about things that you're like, man, I didn't even give enough thought to that. Do I actually believe that? And so going down to 1 show actually allows me to give from give from a full cup, meaning putting my best work into 1 show. And then on top of it, we were doing 3 to 4 shows and we weren't even promoting them extremely well. Now I'll actually be able to promote 1 show better. So all of this to hopefully, so you guys can gain and learn from my journey and mistakes and successes of going, Luke, as president of Reminder Media, we worked with 60,000 clients last year. I have 340 employees. Like, I'm still sitting here going, well, how much content should I put out a week? How much time should I spend on content? Is this actually producing dividends for our business, and most importantly for my clients? Because if my clients love it, then they'll keep using me and they'll keep paying me, and I'll fulfill my vision and mission. And I just realized, you got off a little bit. You're putting out too much content. You're spending way too much time. You can't even track it back to revenue and what it's doing for your business. And more importantly, what it's doing for the vision of helping your clients. You need to go back to your original mission and stay the course. You're going to have to swallow your pride, admit that you're wrong, shut things down, try again. And that's the key to success. Success does not look like a straight line graph, at least in my experience. Maybe for you guys it does, but for me it doesn't. Melissa, what's up? Thank you for the comment. It looks like stairs. You go up, you flatline. You go up, you flatline. You go up, you flatline. Because every new level of success generates new problems. And you have to figure out and become a better version of yourself, become and create better systems and be a better business leader at each new level of success. And that's why you flatline, because you have a little bit of time happening to where you have to now spend time to develop as a person and rethink and reflect. And so, one of the things I pride myself in is that I'm not too proud to change directions, to change courses, to try something new. And that's what I'm doing. So, shameless plug, go listen to our Monday episode. I'm even changing the format of Stay Paid, where I think people just like way less teaching and preaching at them versus conversation. And so I'm trying a new format where this podcast is going to be more conversational. So I'm going to be bringing on guests. If you've ever watched some of these podcasts, like Patrick Bet-David's podcast or the Nelk Boys podcast, or these Impulsive, like all these really popular shows out there, you notice they have 3 to 4 people that are frequently on, and they're having a conversation about a topic, and they'll bring in a guest, and it will be a conversation amongst 5 or people or so. And I want to do more of that. I want to get thought leaders on, but have it way more conversational versus interview style, talking about current relevant things. I want to get way more timely in the content that I'm putting out. I want to talk about what's happening actually today, what the latest headlines are, and what's our thoughts. What are we doing to shift at Reminder Media? I want to give you more insight into what's happening to us. Like, what are the battles we're facing to try to go from 70 million to 150 million as a company? And then what are the things that our clients are facing? So I'm going to bring on guests. I'm going to have multiple people from a conversational style, and I hope you guys like it. But regardless, I told also my social media team, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. So not that I don't care if people don't like it, but I want to have conversations. Like I found myself 550 episodes in, like it was so hard to interview because I'm just like, you keep hearing the same thing over and over again. You're asking the same questions, you get bored and you get one life to live. So I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to go to where I am curious again. I want to learn. I want to have a conversation. I want to talk about this headline that popped up on Inman News or that popped up here that affects business because my passion is business and marketing. And so that's another, I guess, thing that maybe you could take away is going, hey, you got to enjoy what you're doing and don't be afraid to shift purely selfishly. That out of just going, hey, look, I want to love what I do. And so I'm going to shift my business to love what I do, apply it to sales. If you freaking hate cold calling, well, then don't invest so much of your time, energy, and money into cold calling. Figure out how you generate leads a different way. Maybe it's client events. Maybe it's seminars. Maybe it's you just doing stuff with your clients on social media and you're a great social media advertiser. Like there's not one magic way to build a business. You're not forced into a funnel or something that you don't want to do. You can create your own path. And so a little bit of the shift in the podcast is just me selfishly going, hey, I just want to love it again. And in order for me to love it and it be more engaging, I just want to have a conversation with people about relevant things that are going on that are affecting my business and affecting them. And then from that, we'll gain, I think, so much from it. So there you go. That's my Monday mindset for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Ben, good to see you, brother. That's my pastor right there, Pastor Ben Rosario. Thanks for joining on, my man. So shifting the podcast, we're going down from like literally 3 or 4 episodes a week to 1 episode a week, coming out on Mondays, more conversational style. Check it out, staypaidpodcast.com. Hope you will take away from this, get aligned in your vision. And remember, as a business, the principle that guides you is you got to lead with revenue. Don't be doing things if it's not producing revenue for your business. If you are a for-profit business, you're not a charity, you're not a hobby. You got to make money so you can continue to support your staff and your clients and continue on and on and on and on. Lead with revenue. If your content's not generating revenue for you, or if you can't trace it back, you need to rethink why you're doing the content that you're doing. Let's have an amazing week. Crush it for you, for your clients, for your family. Let's get out there and win. Appreciate you guys.